To input your budget into self-service budget development, from the SSBD main menu, click Create Budget Worksheet. Then click Create Query. Be sure that Adopted Budget and Permanent Budget Adjustments are both checked. Leave Temporary Adopted and Temporary Adjustments unchecked. Then click Continue. For Chart of Accounts, enter the letter U. Budget ID tells the fiscal year. This year we are working with FY19, that's fiscal year 2019. For budget phase, because this is non-E&G or auxiliary funding, we are going to type NONEG for non-E&G. Now enter your non-E&G or auxiliary index number. I'm going to use index 362034. For budget duration, we're always using permanent budget. We'll skip Display Financial Manager. And under Check to Include, again, because we're working with auxiliary funding, we need to check revenue accounts, labor accounts, expenses, and transfers. Scroll down and click Submit. That will use your index to populate your fund, your org, and your program code. And scroll down and click Submit again. This takes you to your worksheet parameters where you can verify all the data that you've input so far. You need to double check your fund, your org, your phase, your duration and fiscal year, any data that you've entered, just to verify that that's all correct. Then click Jump to Bottom. This takes us to our summary totals, where we can see an overview of our budget from the current year and our proposal for the new year. We can see how it's grouped into revenues, expenses, and operating expenses. And then we can see our subtotals and our net totals at the bottom. Our base budget is our starting point from the current fiscal year. Our proposed budget is our proposal for the new fiscal year. And new budget shows our changes that we've made before we post them and save our proposed budget. Cumulative changes shows the changes that you've made during this budget development season. After we've reviewed that, we can scroll up to the section called Worksheet. This will show all of our account codes that are within our budget. It shows their title, our adopted budget, our permanent budget adjustments, and our base budget or our starting point for developing our new year budget. Our proposed budget is our budget that we are proposing for the new fiscal year. If you review your proposed budget and need to make a change, enter those changes into the Change Value column. For this example, I would like to add $5,000 of revenue into our budget. Our revenue comes in from student fees, account 510000 in this example. So to add $5,000, I'm going to simply type 5,000. We don't use commas or dollar signs in the change value column. If you are adding, you can use a positive or plus sign, but it's not required. In an auxiliary, One side note to keep in mind is if you do expect more revenue in the next fiscal year, you will need to budget for an increased overhead charge from your index. Okay, now that we've got some additional revenue, you may want to increase your expenses as well. In this example, I want to spend that $5,000 on some additional travel. So I'm going to increase my travel budget by $2,500. And I'll also increase my computer budget, account 792000, by $2,500 as well. If I did want to decrease the budget in a certain account, the only difference is you need to make sure you designate that it would be a negative change, so negative $2,500. But for this example, I just want to increase my revenue and increase my expenses. So once we've got some changes entered in our change value column, let's scroll down and click Calculate. We have a green check mark up here that says the changes submitted have been processed. And if we scroll down where we made our changes, you can see that those changes have moved into the cumulative change column. This also updated our new budget. So this is where we can see a preview of our new budget before we save it and make that our new proposed budget. So if we scroll down to the other accounts that we changed, we can see those same changes we made in the travel account and the computers account, and those are reflected in our new budget. So if you review your new budget and those changes that you've made are correct, you can click Post. Post will save your new budget and update your proposed budget with those changes. So if we scroll down now, we can see that our proposed budget has been updated to reflect those cumulative changes. If you do make a change to your budget, before you submit your final proposal, you need to go in and review the text associated with each account. To do that, click on the account code link associated with each account. This automatically pulls up the text that you've entered last year for your current year budget. In this text, we see that there are two sections. We have one called Enter Budget Text Print and one called Enter Budget Text No Print. The print section will appear on your budget development reports. The no print will not appear on your budget development reports. So any justification text needs to be entered in the print section. Most departments don't use the no print section. However, if you do want to include any data for yourself, such as a formula or something that you'd like to remember for the next year, you can enter that in the no print section. So especially if you've made a change, you do need to designate why you are making a change to that account. For this example, I included that we are planning on additional students next year, so that would justify our increased revenue. Once you've made your changes and updated it accordingly, click the Save button. You'll see a green check mark that tells you it's saved, and then click Exit Budget Text Page. You'll need to click through and update each of the account code text associated. The text column will tell you if there is text currently under each account. The Y stands for yes, there is text. The N stands for no, there is no text currently. So you would definitely need to make sure that there is text on each account. Again, once we made some changes and we updated our text, we'll click Post again to be sure that that saves to our proposed budget. Then again, we can go down to our summary totals to view the cumulative changes that we've made. And if that all looks correct and we're done making changes, you can exit the page by clicking Exit or Return to Budget Development menu.